Let's talk about stand-up. There's so much going on. You don't know the story yet, but maybe in like April, I got an email from somebody and they were like, hey, I need you to come on this live stream. This is when everyone was like figuring out like what is Zoom, and they were like, "Oh, I have a camera on my laptop. I didn't know I had that, and there's microphones." And they were trying to figure it all out. And this guy was like, "We're having a virtual event." This was the first virtual event that I was going to participate in. And I was like, "What is that?" He goes, "We're going to take the real event. We're going to put it online." I was like, "This is going to be a disaster." And so he said, "And after you are going to be these two comedians. I don't remember their names. They weren't somebody that I'd recognized. And it was the first time that I saw how hard it was going to be for comedians to basically talk into their laptop with no fan reactions or audience reactions and just hope that it's going well. Like it was.
Yeah, it's not a virtual sport, you know?
So talk a little bit just about like what you been doing from a comedy side. And then like now as things are opening up, kind of what's the plan?
I mean, stand-up has taken a massive, massive hit. So it's just like, I took for granted the money I could make in a weekend, especially if you're headlining, with the features. Now, I'm sorry, it's the opposite. The people that are featuring, opening, okay? When I used to open, you barely cover your travel. It's just the way you build up and try to, build a fan base, basically. So the people that are featuring are the most screwed, and the openers. And I was there, and you're barely making ends meet anyways. You sell a CD or something like that, like online album or something, to try to make extra cash on top of what you're making. Some headliners will cover your, hotel or travel. And I always did that if anybody was featuring for me. But now we're making, less than a third, or maybe a fifth of what we were making, because we can't, they all want, if they are opening a club, it's going to be a third of capacity. And then, or they're doing it outside. I'm performing on like fields and fire escapes. It's not okay. I did this show in somebody's backyard recently, and there was like some people outside in Brooklyn, and they were like, "Don't talk, whatever you do." Before I got on stage, if you can call it that. Somebody goes, "Listen, whatever you do, don't talk to the lady in blue hair. She's been screaming about the patriarchy and she's really drunk." And I was like, "Can you just like kick her out?" And they were like, "No, it's her yard." And I was like, "Okay, fair." But that in a nutshell is where we're at. Like, I had such arrogance as a comic, because we've always, since I started headlining, you get work because people go to comedy clubs, and it's been a somewhat successful business. At least if you can't make your money, and if you don't get this pilot picked up or this writing job or whatever, you always have stand up, because you could just jump on stage. You don't need anybody else. You don't need that's why I always feel sorry for people in bands, because such a skill I don't have, and they don't need me to feel sorry for them. I mean, I also envy them, but I'm like, they have to wait on like 4 other guys and, and a drum set and a guitar and like equipment. And we can just go on and do stand up, and it's the best. You get to write it. You control so many aspects of it. It's a very independent thing, and you can tweak your act to fit all these factors, how old, how young, how PC, how are they Trump people? Are they super liberal, or, whatever. So, I just always made money doing it, no matter what I was waiting on. And there's been plenty of like heartbreak with those like pilots or TV things or whatever. But I took it for granted, because I just couldn't imagine a scenario that would destroy it like that, So, couldn't work at all for months. And I'd never gone that long without doing stand-up. Since I started stand-up when I was like 20, 21, I haven't gone like, a week or 2 without doing stand-up. So
do you get rusty?
Maybe the most was probably my honeymoon, which was like 2 weeks. Yeah.
Do you get rusty?
I forgot like my material, like things that I've done for years. It was crazy. Like stuff that, this is like the joke I do when I'm bombing and I'm kind of embarrassed and hope a comic's not in the room to see it. But it's like that easy bit I know will do well, and I grab it when I'm having a tough set. Like those bits I forgot. It was so strange. I was like, people always ask you, they go, "How do you remember it all?" And I'm always like, it's not a thing. They're your stories, you know them, but you forget it. If you don't do it for months, you forget how it goes. I was just on stage, like mixing up a setup and a punch. You're just lost, So now that's why I'm going up at all these free places in between, or any comedy club that's having a show on their patio, just because I want to remember how to do it for when I am headlining. in a local field or, some sort of heated tent.
They're coming. They're coming. What
Yeah.
are you hearing from like the comedy clubs themselves in terms of I'm assuming one, they're struggling just like every small business that's got a physical location, but two, have they been able to do certain things to maybe kind of get some kind of revenue when they were shut down, or how do they look at kind of moving forward?
A lot of them are closing. Some of my favorite clubs in the world, one of my favorite clubs in Austin, this club Cap City, that I've played for years, and they're just like, it's just an awesome family-owned, cool place, and they shut down. I was like, no way. A lot of them are shutting down, or they're going to have to shut down. It's impending. And in New York, the way I feel is it's very low here right now. COVID is really low. So if they're opening restaurants, we should open comedy clubs so that they don't all fall apart. I understand when it was high why we had to close them. But now if they're going to slowly open up restaurants, and it is under 1% in New York, I'm like, then open up comedy clubs, because people are dining. They're allowed to take their masks off when they're dining, and, see how it goes. And if it doesn't go well, then close them back up again. But
are they not opening them?
Laugh right now. No, they're not.
Why is that? Like they just like nightclubs?
They have, it's some sort of idea about the comic, I don't know, their face being exposed or something. I mean, Cuomo is the one who doesn't want to open it. And Schumer, the senator, Chuck Schumer, has this bill like Save Our Stages that he's trying to push through to open up comedy again. So I'm really hoping that bill goes through for now, especially because I feel like people need it. And obviously we need it to live, and we don't want all our favorite clubs and places to shut down. But while we can, I say, like, let's get some in and see how it goes. If you're opening up restaurants, it's essentially the same thing. People have their masks off when they're inside of restaurants. So it's like, why can't the one comedian have their mask off and just perform at a third of capacity, or however they're opening up? So I feel like it's worth trying.
I went and I've gotten 2 haircuts in the last month, which is like more than I got the whole year, because I basically just, let it loose and said whatever during Corona. And both times they've got like the temperature gun. And each time that they like shoot you with this temperature gun, I'm like, first of all, how do I know that you're taking my temperature and you're not like somehow putting some shit in my brain, or,
That's
whatever.
Like a true libertarian. That's something my husband would say. I'm like, no one cares. No one's putting a chip in you. Oh my God. That's the kind of shit he says all the time. How do I know they're not like actually reading my thoughts?
I feel like me and your husband would get along really well.
Lock her up.
No. So like they got this temperature gun thing, and like, that's fine, whatever. Like I get it. You want to check the temperature. I don't know if necessarily whether I have COVID or not based on this temperature check thing, but somebody said somewhere that they do. So fine. But then you sit down, they're going to cut your hair. And she's like, leave your mask on. And I was like, okay, that's going to be weird, but like, sure, we'll give this a shot. Starts cutting. And then at one point she's like, can you take it off of your ear, but like hold it over your mouth still? And I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Like they have the
small distinctions get a little confusing.
They have like plexiglass, but it's not like fully encapsulating. Like the plexiglass basically just goes to like where the person sitting down shoulder is. So like, does the virus like not go under the plexiglass or around it? It's just very weird.
It is very confusing. A lot of like the smaller distinctions, and I think some of it is probably like theater, just like airport security is, but like, I don't know, it's confusing. But then I guess I do think that like some things gotta help. I mean, I have no information though with formal education, I should point out. So I don't know.
My favorite thing to say is I'm not a scientist, and I literally have no clue what's true anymore. Like I have no clue. Right. It's just like, there's like some common sense things. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to put my mask on and just like, go do whatever they tell me. Fine. Like, I'll play this game.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it can't hurt, I mean, I do think that like some amount of, we got to take some measures, right? And then see how it goes. But I do think it's insane to say just like restaurants can open, but comedy clubs can't. And it's unnecessarily punishing. Just give it a shot, That's all. I feel strongly about that, and I hope that Schumer bill goes through. I think Cuomo's taking it too far with that.
There's a guy who owns a restaurant down the street from me, and I walk by him every day. And he was like my barometer for how the small business reaction to all this was. So when they first opened up, he was, basically bitching and complaining that he had to build something in the street so they could have seating, but he did it. And then at one point he I'm walking by and he like got really animated and he started dropping the F-bomb. Like, and I was like, this is not how this guy normally acts. And I was like, what's up, man? And he was like, you're telling me they can go get a massage and get their nails done, but you can't go inside my restaurant? And he was freaking out. And I was like, look, man, you're talking to the wrong guy. I'm not going to get a massage. I'm not getting my nails done, but I'll come eat at your restaurant. I think that's all I got for you.
No, I mean, some of it is crazy. And I feel like, I don't know. I hope that bill goes through, because I feel like it, especially the places where it's super low, we have to like find some model to open up again.